Hi, my name is PV. Today we are going to talk about AWS compute services, which is Lambda. So Lambda service is a code runner in a cloud or a plugin service for other AWS service. As discussed in the lesson together, we go through the using Lambda services. So we are going to hear the topic is what is the misuse of Lambda function, and Lambda is a plugin system for our other AWS service like plugin system with S3 with ALB, which is called application load balancer, and with the Lambda with the CloudFront, Lambda with the CloudWatch, Lambda with Kinesis, and Lambda with CloudFormation. And then what is the limitation of Lambda? As we know, we cannot use Lambda everywhere. So it should be the best use cases where we can use the Lambda. Then we talk about inherent limitation and its stateless and rule of thumb. So code running in the cloud, if EC2 is a complete computer in the cloud, Lambda is a code runner in the cloud. So it's just the code runner in the cloud. With EC2, you can get operating system, file system, access to the server hardware, etc. But in Lambda, you just upload some code and Amazon runs for you. So it's just small code. EC2 is like complete, the computer system. The beauty of Lambda is it's the simplest way to run code in the cloud. Is to extract away everything except for the function interface, which you get filled in with the code and you want to run. So it's just code you want to run on cloud. So misuse of Lambda. Let's talk about misuse of Lambda. We think Lambda is great, definitely one of the good part of AWS as long as you treat it as a simple code run with that. A problem we often see that people sometimes mistake Lambda to general purpose application host. Unlike EC2, it's very hard to run sophisticated piece of software on Lambda without making some very distinct changes to your application and accepting some significance of new limitations from the platform. So Lambda is a plugin system, other AWS service. So we talk about we talk about the limit of Lambda. We cannot use anywhere, but it's just lightweight function. So now we talk about the plugin with the AWS systems. So Lambda is the most suitable for a small snippet code that are rarely changed. We like to think Lambda is a function as a part of the infrastructure rather than part of the application. In fact, one of our favorite uses for Lambda is to treat as plugin system for other AWS services. Let's look at a few examples of it. So S3 does not compute with the API to resize an image after uploading it to bucket. So in S3 we cannot do the image uploading and resize. But with Lambda you can that capability to S3. Next things we talk about the application load balancer. So application load balancer come with the API to respond within a fixed response for a given route, but they can't respond with an image. So Lambda lets you make your load balancer do it, right? So CloudFront cannot rewrite a request URL based on the request cookies. This is useful for A/B testing, but Lambda you can make CloudFront to do that just a little bit code. CloudWatch does not support regex-based alerting on application logs, but you can add that feature with a few lines of Lambda code. Kinesis does not come with API filter records with the right them to DynamoDB, but very easy to do with Lambda, right? So CloudFormation is a native modeling language, has many limitations, and for example, you can't create and validate new TLS certificate from AWS Certificates Manager. Using Lambda, you can extend the CloudFormation language to add almost any capability you want, and so on. So you get the idea. Lambda is a great way to extend existing AWS features. So Lambda is very great. So using the existing function, it can do extra thing which these features cannot do. So now let's talk about Lambda limitation. In short term limitation, we hope this sum of limitation will likely to improve or go away over the time. Let's look in a few examples. Cold start. A very annoying issue is a cold start when function is invoked after a period of inactivity or when the Lambda decide to start running your function on a new backend worker. So it's in cold start, it can create a problem. Limit on code bundle. Another problem is limit 250 MB for your code bundle, including all your dependency on programming language like Java, jar file dependency, all you are using. You can find yourself quickly exhausting this limit, and network bandwidth from Lambda function seems to be very limited and unpredictable. This can be problematic depending upon use case, but we are quite confident that this issue will be improving over the time in the next AWS. So the next part we are talking about is Lambda rule for thumb. That said, we are very optimistic about the features serverless computing. The idea of abstracting away everything in the stack, bench your code is the phenomenal advance of software development. However, when building software in the present, we have to assess the option available to today. And while Lambda has its place, certainly it's not substitute of institute. I mean, it's not substitutes. It has some thumbs. Uh, so please like and subscribe my channel so I can create a valuable, the very theoretical and very practical way about the cloud, AWS, GCP, and then I'm going to talk about interview questions in my next coming lecture. Thank you for watching.